hey, if you're a US citizen and you want to protect your retirement and you haven't got our free ebook yet, then you're really missing out. So click on the link in the description and find out how you can secure your retirement and your future today.
Adam, James, how is everything, mate? Every time you guys come on, I just love the background with the safe, the gold, the silver, gets me all excited.
Yeah. When we're not doing videos, we just have a quick nap in there, shut the door, nice and quiet.
I could sleep very good with a gold bar behind my head, actually.
Yeah. Comfier than you think.
It's very attractive, the shiny stuff, isn't it? There's nothing more attractive.
I don't mind, but when you see, you go to sleep and you don't like lights on, you don't mind that gold blazing your eyes. Eyes like the shiny, like waking up to that every day.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
You can see why the human psychology, how they work, how we're so attracted to shiny things, to precious metals, to gold especially. You can see when you've got it in your hand, you think, yeah, you just get it, don't you? I don't think I've truly got it until I held it in my hand.
It's got to be something to do with the sun gold and the stars silver.
Yeah. I bet there's something in that for sure. Yeah.
What have you got for us today then?
Well, today we want to go through, I guess, the top 15 most frequently asked questions. And these are things that if we were starting again, these are things that we would want to know and we would be asking and we think people should know. So this is like a beginner's guide. So if you can answer all of these questions or have an opinion about some of these questions, then you'll not go too far wrong.
If we'd known the answers to all these questions at the very beginning, we'd have done things differently for sure.
Yeah,
it would have helped us if we'd had somebody answering these questions for us at the very beginning.
And in these questions, you basically you've asked these questions and built up over a long period of time, I guess.
Yeah, so I think we've found the answers to these questions the hard way and the long way. So it's taken us years to actually work out, oh, we didn't know that was even a thing, or we didn't even know that mattered, or we didn't know how much that mattered, or we'd not considered this option. So we're bringing a condensed version of all the things you should know before you start. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. That's the best way to put it. But as always, we're not giving advice. As always, we don't give advice. We don't believe in advice. This is just information we're putting out there to help people on their journey. Help them get started and help them decide which way to go on and what the best way to go is. Is precious metals the right vehicle? If it is, there's different ways of doing it, isn't there, Adam? So basically, it's going to hit all the most frequently asked questions that we get every single day that we've answered 1,000 times. We're getting that out there now to help people, get off that fence, Adam, isn't it, really, rather than just sat there. Because so many people sit on the fence for years before they do anything because these questions haven't been answered. So that's what we're trying to do, is to help people take action.
Right. Let's start.
Right. Here we go. So these are the questions that we're going to answer. So should I buy gold or silver? Should I buy coins or bars? Is jewelry a good investment? Should I store metals at home in the vault or somewhere else? Do I have to pay VAT or sales tax on silver? How do I know metals are real? Should I buy allocated or unallocated? We'd never even heard of that when we got started. Very, very important. How much should I purchase? We get asked that quite a lot. How do I sell metals if I need cash? Are metals insured? What purity of metals should I buy? What tax do I have to pay? Very big umbrella. What size of bars? Again, something we do a little bit differently. Can I buy metals with crypto? And which brand of metals do I buy? There's actually different brands out there, believe it or not. So we're going to hit all of these.
Right.
So the first one, should I buy gold or silver? Some of this is preference. So if you've got a reason, like a preference of I want to buy gold because I like it, I've always liked it, and you've got your own reason, fair enough. We would never argue with that. But all we would say is just have something that is a reason that you, I guess, can fall back on. Be like, later down the line, oh, why am I buying gold? Or why have I bought silver? Oh, because that's what I like. So something you can go back to. We actually buy metals in accordance with the gold-silver ratio, this kind of ratio that we talked about when we looked at switching. And that tells you the relative price of gold and silver and tells you which one is the best value for money at that time. So that's how we do it. But you could actually have a combination of those. So you could say, look, out of my pot of money that I want to invest, I'm going to put 70% of it into the metal that the gold silver ratio points to. So if the gold silver ratio points to silver, I'm going to put 70% in silver, and I'm going to play that game. But I'd actually like 30% in gold, just have a bit of diversification between the two. Fair enough. I think it's just having a thought of why you would buy metals in that percentage, and whether it's 50-50, 80-20, 70-30, entirely up to you. But just think about it first. Have a reason.
I think we've had this conversation quite a lot in the past, and we still do have this conversation a lot. Because customers ask, do I just follow the gold silver ratio then, or do I still buy some gold? And we have this conversation. And me personally, I always say, look, we're in a different position. We're just buying silver right now because the ratio is over 80, as an example. But I already own gold that I bought many, many years ago. You don't. You're just starting out. So you're in a different position to us. So don't just blindly follow us. Ask the right questions, So I think it would be a good idea for most customers to have a little bit of gold too, as well as silver. Even if you are following the gold silver ratio. We didn't understand. We'd never even heard of it when we first started. So we were just buying metals willy-nilly. We had no idea at the very beginning, Adam, did we? 10 years ago when I first started, I had no idea. I was just buying metals.
Yeah. I just bought gold, and then I was like, well, I'll buy 70% gold, 30% silver, because I was learning a bit about silver, but I knew more about gold. And then when we looked at the gold silver ratio, it changed again. But it, like James said, we still had that gold originally. So I think for this point, have a reason as to what you're buying. And if you don't have a reason, find a reason, whether that be the gold silver ratio, or you've looked at the performance or something like that, that can give you something you can fall back on. To know why you're doing it. The next one, should I buy bars or coins or bars? So there's a few different thoughts on this. Some people think that if you've got a coin, that it's easier to trade should you need to barter or trade things, that a coin is easier to trade with. Now, I think that just shows the cultural hypnosis of something circular that we have, like money at the minute, is easy to trade with. And if metal's in a circle rather than a rectangle, then that'll be easier to... If we got to that point where we're swapping things and bartering, whether it's in a triangle, a rectangle, a circle, a pentagon, I don't think anyone's going to be bothered. So for us, that's not a good enough reason to buy a coin over a bar. That's one thing we always get asked. The other thing with coins is, and this depends what type of coins and certain in different countries, but certain coins are capital gains tax free. Okay, so that can be like a selling point. This coin is capital gains tax free, but you typically pay more for coins than you do for bars, equivalent weight. And the reason for that is a bar is just a bar. Coins, they have to have the right, a certain stamp on them. There's some input, a certain year, all these different things, which you pay for. So the capital gains tax-free is an interesting one. And look, we're not tax advisors, but let me just give you a kind of our version of it in the UK. You only pay capital gains if your investments grow by a certain amount. It used to be £12,000 a year. I think it's reduced since then. So
I haven't checked.
Let's say you buy £50,000 worth of coins and you say, well, these are capital gains tax free. They've got to grow to £62,000 worth, well, more than £62,000, and you'd have to sell the whole amount within 1 year to actually benefit. You could sell £12,000 worth of gain each year and still not have to pay anything in that example. So are you benefiting from the capital gains tax-free? You're paying for it up front, you're paying a higher price for the coin, but are you seeing the advantage at the other side? And in our experience, most people don't usually see the advantage of coins. That's just in our experience.
You know what I think it is with the coins, Adam? I think because obviously the people we work with, the people who watch us, you know, they've all got this picture, if it does go all tits up, that it's going to be like a Mad Max apocalyptic world. And obviously the silver coins are like, what, 20 euros, 25 euros?
Something like that, yeah.
So I think it's because it's like small denomination. And when you look at the bar, you can't bite a bit off and give it. I think that's the way people look at the coins. So you wouldn't have a lot of them. You just have a few of them, I reckon. I mean, just my opinion on that.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And
we still have coins. We still have coins, don't we, Adam? We still own them.
Yeah, we still have a small amount. But with bars, you can get a far larger range of size bars, denominations, than you can coins. Typically, coins are like 1 ounce coin, ½ ounce, ¼ ounce, 1/10 of an ounce, 4 or 5 coins. Bar sizes, you can get 1 gram, 5 gram, 10 gram, 100 gram, 50 gram. You know, there's actually more options with bars, believe it or not. So, and this is, again, when you first go on to, when we first started buying metals, we go onto like different websites, and it was like going down the sweet aisle in a supermarket. You're like, which one do I buy? There's so many options.
Hang on, Adam. You know, when you said, like, you say 1 gram for the gold bar.
Yeah.
Is that about the size of like a phone card?
Tiny.
It's about the size of a SIM card, a phone SIM card. Tiny. Right. So you can get all those options. And when we first looked at on these websites, you don't know whether you're buying gold bars, silver bars, gold coins, silver coins. Are you buying this brand? Are you buying this? Like, it's absolute overwhelm. So we just want to narrow it down to what actually makes the best investment for most people. And in our experience, bars are a better fit for most people.
That's a 1 gram bar there. Look.
Tiny.
That's got in my drawer,
And that's about what? 50 quid, 55 pounds?
Yeah,
60 euros.
That is a SIM card size, isn't it? SIM card size.
That phone SIM card. Tiny. So, and I think, again, because it's a circle, it feels familiar that you can do more with it, but it's not necessarily the case. So that's that one. Jewelry. We get asked about this quite a lot, actually. Is jewelry a good investment? You know, it's gold, it's silver, sometimes it's a combination, it's got precious stones in and all this kind of thing. Not really, is the short answer. And the reason for that is, when you think about that bar, someone's got a mold, they're tipping the metal into the mold, it cools, that's it. So the amount of effort that goes into forming that bar, once you've got the purity right, is very, very low man hours. You think of the intricate detail and the amount of effort that has to go into forming all these small shapes and all of these, minute details and mixing metals. And it's a lot of time. It's a skill and it's very impressive. But the amount of time that goes into it, somebody has to pay for that. So it just means that the efficiency of the investment is not as high as just buying bars or coins. I'd rather have a coin than jewelry.
So bars are like the cheapest, aren't they? Coins are more expensive, higher premiums. Jewelry is even higher. Jewelry can be really quite high, can't it?
And you get different mixtures of metals as well. Because 24 karat gold is quite soft. And they usually mix it with other things, so it's not 24 karat, so that it's more hard wearing, it doesn't get knocked about and change shape. So generally speaking, jewelry is not good for investment. Makes you look very nice, very pretty, but not as good as an investment. Okay, should I store metals at home, in the vault, or somewhere else? And again, we've talked about this before, and part of it is preference. We would say that having multiple options can serve you well. Again, diversifying as a principle is really good. 99% of what we have, we keep in the vault. And the reason for that is we get lots of flexibility, lots of options that we can do with these with the metals in the vault.
Mine's in the vault.
Yeah, in the vault, safe. It's just there. You can move. You can do whatever you want. You've got options. We'll talk about in a second about selling and different advantages, switching, and all that stuff with metal in the vault. Metal that's in your hand, more difficult. And there's a point where you can feel more vulnerable having it in your hand. It's not wrong to do that. Again, it's preference. This is why we don't say have this amount in this place and this amount in this place. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. But think about it. Think about, are you thinking of moving? You know, what happens if you need to sell? How do those other elements of your investment impact where you're storing them? So things to think about. VAT or sales tax. When we first started, we were paying VAT on silver. In the UK, it's 20%. It's usually around 20-25%, roughly, on the white metal, silver, palladium, and platinum. So if you have it in your hand, if you have silver in your hand, you're going to pay the VAT. You're going to pay the sales tax. And that is literally just a cost. It means that your metals, if it's 20%, you've got to make 20% to break even or to get back just that tax, never mind anything else.
Yeah.
If you store metals in the right way, something called a bonded warehouse, which is like a vault in a duty-free zone, you don't have to pay that tax. Yeah. So, again, something we wish we knew. I mean, the metals, the silver that was bought when we're paying the VAT, it's actually come good now, but we've had to wait a long time for that to happen.
I was just about to say that, mate. You know, the metals I thought I bought 10 years ago, silver, I didn't understand all this back then. So I was buying silver back then. And even though I paid VAT, you know, down the line now, my metals are worth much more than what I bought them for in the first place. But it's time. This is why we always say to people, it's going to take a good few years to buy and hold. It's a buy and hold strategy. It's not a buy and expect you to be a millionaire next week, or even sometimes in a few years. You know, you've got to buy and hold it and just leave it there for. We always say 4 or 5 years plus. You know, at least.
So to be fair, James, that's a really big save already. That one.
Oh, massive.
Huge.
Massive.
Yeah, 20%. Yeah. I mean, not all vaults are bonded warehouses either. So you can have silver stored and still have to pay the VAT.
Right, it's very important, that one.
Very important. The other thing as well, and this is why we like the functionality of switching, is if you've got silver in the bonded warehouse, you've not paid the VAT. If you want to get that silver delivered and taken out of the vault, you have to pay the VAT on the day that it comes out because it no longer is in this tax-free status.
Right.
But you pay the VAT on the value on the day it comes out, not on the day you bought it. So you could actually end up paying more VAT when it comes out than you would have when you bought it. The way we avoid that is if we want to get anything delivered and it's silver, we click on switch, we switch our silver to gold, and we get the gold delivered instead, because there's no VAT on gold.
So 2 very big factors there.
Yeah, so it's a huge point.
How the switching was. That's the only way we used the switching feature in our accounts back then when we first started. We didn't use it to make extra metals. We just used it to legally avoid paying VAT. Legally, you know, I have to keep saying that.
Very good tactical advantage, that.
But that in itself will save you a lot of money because you wouldn't pay your VAT, and also the gold wouldn't weigh a lot less than what the silver would if you were having the silver shipped. So them are 2 things, you're saving a lot of money.
Excellent.
We always say, like, in the financial world, what you don't know does hurt you, and this is just like a bit of knowledge that can help you. And you know,
listen, everyone's getting spanked every day with this, so it is. It's knowledge people need to understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Next one. How do you know metals are real? Nice chocolate coin there coming up to Christmas. So we've actually heard of a bank in Germany that was selling coins to customers, and they were fake coins.
Wow,
and
that's going to happen.
Not because the bank were intentionally selling fake coins, but because they just didn't know the industry. It was a bit of a bolt on to their core business. And they thought, oh yeah, we'll sell some coins. They were getting them from the supplier. They were fake coins, and they were just selling them on, not knowing any different. So I'm not saying that's going to be kind of everywhere, but it does happen. It does happen. We actually looked on eBay once and just typed in like gold bar or something. Some of the stuff that came up, you wouldn't believe. You were like, is that even gold? It doesn't even look like gold.
Yeah.
So we would say, look, make sure you are buying from a reputable source, not eBay, not a company that's just popped up 2 minutes ago. That it's a reputable source, and ask them questions. We did the company that we use. We've absolutely hounded them and still do to this day with all the questions. And just keep asking. Sometimes if you ask the same questions a couple of times, you get different answers or a slight variation. So make sure you're buying from a reputable dealer. I wouldn't buy them from banks. I would buy them from companies that is their speciality, and that if they
especially not eBay.
Especially not eBay. Yeah. And I wouldn't even buy it from anyone down the road, or I would buy it as close to the source, as close to the refinery as possible. Because if the refinery, if the refinery are selling fake metals, there's huge implications, and that's the whole business collapses. If someone unknowingly has bought fakes and they're selling on fakes, again unknowingly, it's you that's gonna suffer at the end, and it doesn't have any detrimental effect on them.
So it's very important to do your DD on that.
Yes.
Oh yes.
I'll speak to you guys.
We'll speak.
Exactly.
Keep it simple. Speak to you guys.
We'll show you at the end some brands that you can trust and that you can buy from. So
we've had people come to us. Sorry, we've had people come to us. We've had people come to us in the past and said, "Oh, we've bought metals at this price, a lot cheaper, and this, and they just didn't understand it. That's all, and that's where we fit in. And obviously we've gone away and found the answers and come back to them and said, it's because of this, this, and this. And normally the case is the quality. They've not bought 999.9.
We'll talk about that in a second.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
So allocated or unallocated. This is something we didn't even know existed at the beginning.
Right.
So let's say we'll take two scenarios. One is you say to a precious metal company, reputable company, you say, I want to buy 10 grams of gold. And they say, great, we have a facility that we can store the metals for you. And you say, great. But you don't get any information about that metal, those 10 grams. You don't know the serial bar number. You don't know the exact weight, the purity. You don't know anything about it. And you actually have no legal ownership, no legal title over that metal. So what happens is, and it sounds like it wouldn't exist, but it does. And it's very close to how banks work. So technically that company, you've bought 10 grams of gold from them. They only actually need to produce that 10 grams of gold if you want to get it delivered. But there's nothing really to stop them selling that 10 grams of gold to the next person as well. So there could be multiple owners to one piece of metal.
Timeshare gold.
Yeah. And this is the reality of what actually happens. Because if you look at the amount of people that have a claim on gold, and then you look at the amount of gold, there's something in the region of about 300 owners of every gram of gold. So do the maths. Someone's not owning the metal at some point. And this is unallocated. So it's not allocated to you. It's actually still on the company's balance sheet, like the banks do. You put your money in the bank, they go and, invest it, risk it, they lend it out to other people. They just need to produce it when you want it back.
Legal fraud.
Exactly.
Yeah. We were shocked by this when we first learned this, but it is a massive, massive point.
Yeah. We just want to put a lot of distance between how the banks work and how metals work for us. Yeah. So anything that resembles banks or is along that line, we're not interested.
Yeah.
Allocated metals is the total opposite of that. So that's all we buy for ourselves. Metals that you are the legal owner. If the company disappears, it doesn't affect your metals. In this scenario, if the company disappears, you said, I've got 10 grams. Yeah, but which 10 grams? They said they've got 10 grams as well. Are you going to have a fight over it? Or do you know what I mean? It's very messy. The way we do it, we know the exact serial bar number. If the company disappeared, they can't take our metals because we're the legal owner, not them. And it just puts you in a far better protected state.
Well, that's the stamp seal, that one, isn't it, really? For protection.
Yeah. Allocated, not unallocated. How much should you buy? We get asked this a lot. People say to us, how much should I buy? And it's a personal thing. So we think metals are a good option, and a good option in a diverse portfolio. Now, how much you diversify is entirely up to you. Some people, they're that busy diversifying into two things or even into metals as one option is a big jump. Some people buy in lump sums, some buy on a monthly basis, and both of those strategies can work. What I would say is, when you're looking to diversify and looking at the amount that you want to purchase, look at it in terms of risk. So metals typically are not very volatile. Silver's a little bit more volatile than gold, but as far as other things you can invest in, they don't kind of fluctuate. There's not massive swings. So sometimes we get asked, someone might say, look, I've got £10,000, 10,000 euros, and I'm thinking 50% in metals and 50% in crypto. So 5,000 in each. What do you think? And as far as capital allocation, as far as the amount that you're putting into each thing, that is equal, 5,000 in each. But it's not equal as far as risk, because crypto is far more volatile than metal. So you're, as far as a risk standpoint, you're actually out of balance. So you're in way more risk with the crypto than you are with the metals, even though you've got the same amount in each. So just look at that. Look at, if you're investing in other things, how volatile they are, and adjust your risk accordingly. Don't just do it on how much money and then divide it that way. I think a lot of people.
So if you've got some,
sorry,
mate, if you got someone like a shoestring budget, what's the lowest they can invest in? Say they're like, I'm on a monthly salary, or I'm on a monthly pension. I don't have much money to live, but I have a little bit left. What's the lowest they can invest in each month?
The way that we do it, you could buy down to the penny.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
you get a lot of people saying they don't have. I can't afford gold and silver, which was my opinion when I first got into this, until I started talking to you and educated us a lot on what you can buy and what you can't buy.
Yeah, the typical limitations are the smallest denomination. So if you were buying bars, the smallest denomination really is 1 gram. So gold, 1 gram of gold. In coins, the smallest denomination is usually around 1/10 of an ounce, something like that. So the typical way of doing it is the smallest denomination is the limiting factor. The way we do it, it's not. And we'll tell you about that in a second.
Yeah, you can buy part of a bar. You know, you don't have to buy the whole bar. There's some really key points there. And what a lot of customers ask, Adam, just with regarding the purchasing, mate, is one key point I think we should just hit with this too. Is how much should I purchase? Is please don't spend every penny. It's only unallocated funds. It's a key point, this. Because some people try and just put everything in there, because metals are long-term investments. They're not short-term. You know, if you buy metals today and try and sell them tomorrow, you'll lose out, you know, because you've got to pay the bullion dealer for buying them in the first place. You know, their premium, their profit, that's where they make their profit. So it's a buy and hold strategy. So don't put too much in. Only money that would otherwise just be sat somewhere in the bank doing nothing, that you don't need to feed your family or pay your bills.
Long-term investment.
Yeah. The 3 rules we have for ourselves is the funds are unallocated, so for no particular purpose. They would otherwise be sat in a bank account gathering dust or something like that, and that it's for the long term. For us, if it ticks those 3 boxes, we're happy to buy metals.
Clear.
So, selling metals if you need cash. So look, we all set out being a long-term investment, and that's what we hope for, but life has gives us surprises sometimes, and sometimes you might need to sell, or you might just say, look, I've had the growth and I'm happy to cash out. So there's no wrong way of doing this, but whichever way you pick, do it with your eyes open. If you have metals in your hand, it's up to you to find someone to buy them, to work out what price they're going to give you, and to navigate that whole thing yourself. If you've got the metals in your hand as well, they're a physical thing. You have to take them somewhere. So there's that element to consider. The way we do it in the vault is that the metals, because the track record of those metals is known by the bullion dealer, they'll buy them off us without testing them, and they'll buy them. We can go on our account and sell them within 3 clicks and have cash in our account within a couple of days, because they're a known entity. If you were to take a bar of gold to a bullion dealer, they'd say, great, but we're going to have to test it. We don't, not that we don't trust you, but we don't know what it is. We don't really know what it is. So there's a physical process in doing that.
Well, that's, let me just jump in there, Adam. That's the point for me. And I think a lot of people out there, when they invest in this, they don't know how they're going to sell it at the end for actual cash if they do want to use it. So basically, the company you guys are using and the brand of metals. So if you invest in that and say like it's 20 years later and you've got like I don't know, 50 grand's worth or 100 grand's worth or 10 grand's worth, whatever, you can just go, right now, I'm going to cash it out. And it's just a simple process like that, because you've been with this company for how many years? They know the brand. It was their brand in the beginning, and it's an easy exchange with any deductions or whatever profit you make.
Yeah, it literally 3 clicks.
Brilliant.
So
beat me to it. 3 clicks. It's that easy. Yeah.
And it's not to say that you shouldn't have metals in your hand. Again, it's doing it with your eyes open. And you're totally right in what you're saying, that people don't know what to do. I would go even one step further and say people don't even consider the other end. They just think about buying and this bit now and not, well, what does it look like at the other end?
Well, this is the important bit for a lot of people. They're thinking, right, if I put that in there and I'm going to say, right, in the next 10, 20 years, I want to retire or whatever, and I want to take my money, I want to go and buy a house in the middle of the forest next to a lake, blah, blah, blah. Then I've got to work out how I'm going to sell that metal for money. It's a no-brainer. It's like 3 clicks.
Yeah. You should start with the end in mind, shouldn't you? And that's what we say to customers all the time. Start with the end in mind,
Yeah. Because by doing that, you don't have any surprises. That's something that you don't want to invest for 10 years and then have a surprise that you could have avoided if you considered it at the beginning. So, again, big points. We never considered this. It's stuff we've learned.
No, we didn't. Yeah, to be fair, we didn't.
That's a biggie for everybody. That one.
Are metals insured? So I think we've shared before about having metals in your home and getting them insured. Pretty much impossible. We've not heard anyone doing it properly. I think if your precious metals are your financial insurance, then insuring your financial insurance and having a safety net is paramount. We think, it's insurance for insurance. And the way that we do it, the insurance is so cheap that you'd be silly not to. So if anything happens, that your plan of buying metals, getting the growth, maybe doing some switching, and in 10 years, like you said, buying a house by a lake in the forest, in the woods, is going to happen whether someone nicks the metal or not. It gives you a real peace of mind, because
sorry, mate. So they cover the lot, not like with the banks. If you got like £1 million in there, and the bank will only cover up to 100 grand.
Yeah, it's 100% of the value.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So again, it's all these things to just bring peace of mind. And if metals are going to do their job for you, then it makes sense to look at.
Adam, that's out of all the questions so far, that's the 2 biggest factors for me so far. Exchanging the metal for money with 3 clicks, where a lot of people think that might be a headache for years to work out how to do it. And then the insurance side, knowing you're not going to get.
Well, the very, very worst case scenario, and it gets better than this depending on how much you're buying. Worst case scenario for storage, insurance, and independent auditing, you pay 0.08% per month, which basically works out, for every €1,000 worth, you pay 80 cents a month.
Brilliant.
Peanuts, really.
Tiny for what you get. Yeah.
80 cents a month. And there's no minimums. So it flexes with you. So as your purchase goes up, your costs go up, but it's tiny. Really,
mate,
really small.
That's like quarter of a cup of coffee over here.
Yeah, 80 cents. 80 cents per 1,000 per month. So it's a no-brainer.
There's no other fees or anything like that. That is it.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
that is
it's
it.
All covered.
And you even get the buyback price when you actually sell it to. You don't pay any fees at the back end, where most bullion dealers, from what we've seen in the past, from our research, they might only give you 97% or 95% of the value of the gold, where we'll give you the spot price on the day.
Yeah,
guys will give you. They don't make a bean. They don't make any profit at the back end, and that's a massive, massive point.
Yeah. So purity. What purity of metals should I buy? We're getting to the end now. So when we started, we were looking into this, and a few people were asking us, and they said, "I actually buy metals much cheaper than that." And we were like, "Oh, maybe this company isn't a good company." Turns out that the purity wasn't the same. So you have 24, 23, 22 carat, 18 carat, and then underneath, I don't know if you can see, there's different percentages. So all that is we only buy the 4 nines. So 99.99% pure. And that is like investment grade. It's the top that you can get. And it means that it's just recognized everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get, the purity is less, so you pay less at the beginning, but you get less at the other end when you come to sell them. Plus, if they're not the top purity, then someone's going to have to test them. The full bar's not all gold. You're limiting your options as well. There's many bullion dealers that say, look, if it's 4 nines, we'll just take it off your hands. We'll test it. Yeah. But if it's 22 carat, 23 carat, it's not really our market. You're limiting yourself. So we just think, look, if it's not going to hurt you, then get the top stuff.
Yeah.
Get the real stuff.
Yeah.
The next one here is tax on metals. So we talked about capital gains tax. Now, look, we're not tax advisors. None of this is tax advice. And tax is a big kind of topic. What we found is that for most people, they can avoid paying any taxes legally. Most people. So we talked about the VAT with silver. You can get rid of that. So don't need to worry about that anymore. That's a sales tax. And with capital gains, if you're liquidating your metals over time, then for most people, they can limit their capital gains as well. But we would say, look, whatever country you're in, speak with a tax advisor in your country, because there's so many different rules on tax. But put it this way, if you do have to pay tax on your metals, then it means they're growing and they're making profit. So if there's tax that you can get out of legally, then do. If there's tax you can't get out of and you have to pay some, then it's a good thing because you're making money. So think about it that way. Okay, what bar sizes? What size bar should I buy? So think about a straight line, right? You've got the smallest bar down here, say a 1 gram bar. And at this end, you've got a 1 kilo bar. So a 1 gram and a 1,000 gram bar. The 1 gram bar gives you the most flexibility because, let's say you had 1,000 1 gram bars at this end. You don't have to sell the whole thing. You can sell bits. But per gram, you're going to pay a much higher price for lots of these little 1 gram bars. So we would say, look, it's not the best option. The other end of the scale, you've got this 1 kilo bar where you're getting a really good price per gram, but you're stuck with a kilo bar. So if you want to sell anything, you have to sell the whole thing.
Yeah. How much are them worth, by the way, boys?
Well, if a kilo was about what, 50,000 euros, roughly 55,000 euros, something like that.
Wow.
For kilo. So yeah, let's say it was round numbers 50,000 and you wanted 5,000, you've got to sell the whole thing. And whereas if you've got smaller ones, you're going to pay more, but you can sell them bits. We actually have a different approach, and this is what we talked about earlier, which is we buy part of a larger bar.
Yeah.
And think of it as like buying, owning an apartment block in an apartment complex. You don't own the whole thing, but you own your bit.
Yeah.
What this does is it means you get a compromise between the smallest bars, and you can actually go smaller than the smallest bars because you can buy down to the penny, and you get a better price because you're buying part of something bigger.
Yeah.
So for us, it's kind of the best of both worlds, and we've looked at it from many angles.
Yeah.
It gives you the flexibility to sell down to the penny, buy down to the penny. you can actually transfer metals from your account to another account for free and in real time. And you can also switch metals. If you've got set denominations, it's very difficult to then go and switch.
Key point here. Okay.
So the switching is all possible because of these part of a larger bar. It's called fractional ownership.
And most bullion dealers, most fractional ownership, most bullion dealers, not knocking them. There's lots of reputable, very good bullion dealers out there. But you buy whole bars and you store whole bars with them. Most people do anyway. And that's it. That is it. End of story. You know, with our accounts that we get, what our customers get is an online account, and the features within that account that we've discussed today, many of them, far outweigh what you would get from a normal bullion dealer. You know,
massively.
And the switching is one of the biggest ones, isn't it? The switching is we wouldn't be able to switch unless we had fractional ownership. And that's another key point, isn't it? So. It's huge. I mean, as an example, if you had a whole bar, just a 1 kilo bar there, and you were like, oh man, you know, my car's just blown up. I need £10,000 for a new car. Precious metals are a long-term investment. You don't want to sell your metals, do you? Especially if you've just bought them. If you've just bought that bar and your car's just blown up a week later, you're like, you know, you don't want to sell the whole bar short term because you'd lose out, wouldn't you? But with our guys, you can just sell £10,000 worth of metals and keep you the 40,000. So, you know, to grow long term. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In that example. Yeah. It's having that flexibility makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Okay, last 2 points. So, can you buy metals with crypto? Now, I'm sure we all agree, whether we love crypto or hate crypto, that it's going to be part of the future to some degree. So whether the company has the option available now, but if they don't have it available now, they should be looking into it, that you can move between crypto and metals, just to give you that option so that you're not limited and it's just a company that says, look, it's cash or nothing else. Because you want to keep your options open. And the last point, so what brand do you buy? Again, when we first went onto kind of a main website in the UK to look at different metals to buy, we were hit with all these different brands. So not only were there gold, there were silver, there were bars, there were coins, but there were also Heraeus and Metalor and PAMP and Argo Heraeus and the Canadian Royal Mint and all. We're like absolute overwhelm with what you buy. Now, all of these brands are part of the LBMA. So this is the London Bullion Market Association. They benchmark and regulate the precious metals market. These are big refineries.
Right.
These are trusted refineries. But between them, whether you buy a 100-gram bar that's Heraeus or a 100-gram bar that's Metalor, doesn't really make a difference. Although on some websites, you will see a price difference between the different brands. But it actually doesn't make a difference. So don't get sucked into this 100-gram bar that's Heraeus is priced more than a Metalor bar that's 100-gram gold bar. If the purity is the same and the weight is the same, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The way you can test this is ring the company up or email them or contact them and say, I've got two 200-gram gold bars. I've got one that's Heraeus. What will you give me for it? What can I get if you buy it from me? And I've got a Metalor one, and they'll give you the same price.
Right. Clear.
So if they're giving you the same at the end, it means that they're worth the same at the beginning.
It sent my head in a spin, Lee. Yeah, it sent my head in a spin when I first I bought my first metals from Bullion by Post, and I went on their website and I was just, where do you start here? It's just, oh my, far too much going on, far too many options.
The stamp's very important.
So we try and take ourselves back to that time, you know. What is, sorry?
The stamp is very important. The seal.
What is, Lee?
The seal.
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah. So as long as it's one of those brands.
So it's just when people are starting out, it is a bit of a minefield.
Yeah.
So
those are I know it took quite a long time, but those are our 15 kind of frequently asked questions. If you can go through those and work them out for yourself, there's some some bits you've got to figure out for yourself, preference-wise. But if you can answer all of those, then you'll start on a really, really strong footing, way better than when we started.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the 2 questions on there that were key to me, have really made me now so relaxed with the whole thing.
Which were those?
The one where you can exchange, you know, like I said to you, if you want to save up for a house in the future and you want just, you know, the whole thing of getting a mortgage and all that, you know, messing on with the bank and stuff like that. It's like, all right, I've got my gold now. How do I exchange it for cash, and how do I get it into, you know, into the system to buy? Which was a massive one, and obviously the insurance, which is a massive one for people. If you've got £1 million in the bank, and the banks go tits up, they only insure. I mean, some only insure you for 10 grand, but some of the bigger ones insure you for 100. Then you've lost 900,000. So that was the other big thing for me. You know, you get it, and it's very, very cheap, the insurance, and you get what you put in. So that's just like me, completely relaxed with it now.
Yeah, great. I'm glad that that's the whole idea, that we kind of dispel all these different things and put people's mind at rest. And then precious metals, we always want it to be a good option, beginning, middle, and end. And by answering these questions, it can be that. It's when there's surprises that you've not kind of figured out, you weren't expecting, you have to navigate, that it becomes not a good investment. So
I mean, I don't have to worry about it now. It's like when you got, you know, what's going on with the banks at the moment, the whole thing in the world, you're worried about, like, oh, what if I don't take my cash out? Am I going to lose it? The bank's going to go down. They're going to give me this, cryptocurrency or this, CBDC, what the banks are going to do. Am I going to lose it that way and be forced into that part of the currency? But with this now, it's like, I've put my investment in there. I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yep. It's allocated. It's legally yours. No one's going to do anything. It's insured. It's just boxed off, and just, it does give you a confidence as well.
Yeah, it does, mate. Yeah, I'm really happy with that.
It does. Yeah, it makes a big difference.
And listen, boys,
this is why we chose this as the vehicle to help people.
Yeah. This was, I think, this for now, I don't know what video this is we've done now, 8, 9, 10, 11, I don't know what it is. This for me now is this is your stamp for me now. This was great. Best one so far.
Yeah. Great. Well, thanks for having us.
Weeks.
Oh, great stuff.
Yeah. Sounds good.
See you in a couple of weeks, boys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Will do.
Bye.
Cheers.